Alright, boys, welcome back to a new episode of Coaching with Casually Explained with the one, the only, Mr. Jamie. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be here, Kevin. Appreciate ready to hop right into those replays.
Alright.
Right here in the Monster Energy studio. Monster Energy Gaming Studio.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Okay.
You need to listen up.
What would you rate that performance out of 10
7.
of me adding you to the party and then loading the replay?
That was very good. I think it's the fastest we've done so far. But
Okay,
we put the bar very
excellent.
low before, so.
It's very true.
Actually, yesterday I saw you... No, today. I saw you play the Glaive build as well.
Yeah.
You won, but you absolutely destroyed the build. And I think you're aware of it as well. The things you do with
Oh,
it
yeah.
is not quite as
I get
tight
it.
as it should be.
I get it right maybe 10% of the time when they don't do anything to me at all. And then it's like, it's real good. I always win those games.
Yeah, you even won the game that I watched, but the execution still was
nice.
awful. Okay, he tries to...
Yeah, that happens a lot. There's been a few times I've got it over there, like 423 warp in.
Ooh.
It feels good, but I have no idea how to follow up, But
You forgot your core here? Nice. Classic second guess before core.
I,
No second pilot. This looking tight.
oh yeah, the opening. The opening was a disaster. I was reading the chat. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. Forget what happened in the opening here.
What have, in general, how have the games been feeling? I heard some rumors that your PvZ hasn't been too hot.
PvZ's been really bad, but I think it's been getting better because I've decided to play a lot more like the macro style that we used to kind of do. Because I find with the adept all in, like at least it's just kind of like I show up at their base and I'm like, hope this works. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's just like an auto win. Sometimes it's a bit of damage, and sometimes it does nothing. And I feel like by playing macro, it's a bit more like consistent. So I've been trying to, there's also more longevity from it. So I've been trying to do that at least today.
Cool. Glad to hear that. Okay, got a Stalker. I've actually been cutting out the Stalker completely. Just
Really?
only Adept. Yeah. I love it. And just let them see whatever I'm doing, because I'm so good anyway that it doesn't really matter. Like with the just 2 Adepts, you get the 2
Oh, yeah. I think that's actually what I was doing in the other games too. I think in this game I just kind of got a bit flustered from the opening and screwing everything up. So I had extra gas or something like that. But yeah, I've been doing the same thing. I've just been going up to like, getting the extra adepts and sending them across the map.
Yeah, that's good.
Which I think I do in this game, and it just maybe I don't. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So far it looks pretty alright. I think your third is a little late. You play... Wait. Why is everything so late? I guess your early game was just really bad, eh?
Yeah, it was probably pretty bad.
Oh, okay. No, and you were...
I was more concerned.
Okay. You were more concerned?
Yeah, I was a bit more concerned with like the mid game in this because I knew that I think the opening was pretty bad, but I knew it. Oh, so what's the order for the robo and the assimilators and stuff like that? I want to make sure I got it right from last time. Is it robo, 2 assimilators, then a forge, and a twilight?
Yeah. That's what I like to. I'm not a big fan of getting 6 adepts anymore. Also, I'd recommend this pylon, putting it 1 square up, so you can hide your adepts in there while you're, either if you're just gonna get 2 adepts or even if you're gonna get 4, in case there's links. It's nice to be able to squish them in there.
Oh, is there not a gap? Okay.
No,
Okay.
you usually
I usually try to do that. But
okay, just
yeah.
not this game, right?
I thought there was a gap there.
Yeah. Well, there isn't.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe there's not. Okay, sorry.
So you can play 6 adept, you can play 4 adept. I would say just switch between 4 and 2, because if you go up to 6, your Forge Twilight is going to be quite delayed, which sucks.
Okay.
And then I like the battery, and then you can get like Zealot Sentry as you're moving out with either 4 adept or 2 adept, or you can keep them at home, whatever you want.
Okay.
There is a couple of I'm not quite sure how to call them, but like little things that I like to keep in mind. So usually what I do is I try to get some damage initially with my oracles, and then I try to use them a little bit in unison with my adepts. And then once my nexus finishes up, I send my oracles back to kind of defend my probe transfer. So it's like a pretty safe play, but it has gotten me really good results if I get into a decent mid game. Like I don't need to kill too much. I like to be relatively non-committal with my adepts as well, which I see we don't share that.
No.
If you do stuff like this,
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is really good. I really like this, where you kind of force him to pay attention somewhere else, and then you go in with the oracles. Ideally, you don't lose it, but I mean,
Yeah. Pretend that didn't happen.
yeah, it's still okay. I mean, this is a good trade, right? You lose one oracle, and adepts, they fall off so fast. If you build 6 adepts, you actually need to do something, and you kill 15 workers. Like, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that is good. Okay, cool.
Do you kill? Sorry, do you kill? Do you control group Forge Twilight?
No, I don't.
I think you should. Do you have a mouse button or anything?
I do, but I use that for others sometimes. But I usually just press F2 and then I can quickly like CG, you know. But
Wait, F2?
I guess I could put that on for the I use that for camera hockey.
Oh, okay. If I were you, I just put it in the thing, because if you're microing stuff on the other side of the map, it's kind of important that these 2 upgrades start at a proper timing, you know?
Okay.
So I'd go for that. Let's see, you go straight immortal. I don't do that very much anymore, but because of the super battery we have now, I feel like it's easier to hold things, but for safety's sake, I don't even mind really getting it.
All right.
Your gases are late, your pro count is too low, your extra gateways were too late as well, I think, and your Templar Archives seems to be a little bit delayed for no real reason as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what do you get instead of the immortal? Did you just go observer or prism?
So usually I always start with an observer, even if I want to get an immortal, because imagine. So we're at. This is kind of a pretty normal scenario where you either lost your map control because he built links or because you just did damage. And right now he has, 16, 17 links on the map. And it's scary for you to move out with the oracles, right?
Yep.
So you're really not going to get any type of information right now. And that's kind of where the observer comes into play. If you got an observer going across the map, like, you'll know if it's more links or if it's roaches. Maybe he's going to queen drop or, just some type of info is nice to have at this point, because the oracles can't really provide it anymore once you need to start defending your mineral lines or your worker transfer. This is perfect that your oracle is here, but without vision, you're just gambling on what he's doing, which isn't ideal.
When are you gonna get a phoenix to just like kill the overlords and stuff?
Usually after I build all my gateways.
Okay.
So
what timing are you aiming to get the gateways up roughly? Would you start building them roughly?
Well, it depends. Like, if you play 6 adept, it's probably gonna be a bit later, and if you get an immortal before, it's definitely gonna be a lot later. Like, it just depends a bit on all that. The timing.
Well, just like say with the version you do.
Oh, the version I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm done building all my gates at this point, and I have 2 gases start at 5:30 on the 3rd base.
Okay.
My aim usually with what I currently do is to hit on the other side of the map at 6:50 with +1 and charge down 9 gates, a prism, 2-3 archons. So you're a little bit behind.
That's fast.
Yeah, but
that's really fast. Okay.
But you have some opportunity with the adepts that I don't really create, because I play 2 adept, and I think your style is better at your level as you get a bit more scouting with the adepts, right? A bit more safety. I play very tight, which it's good if you can pull it off, but it might be difficult and more frustrating. I
kind of like yours better, honestly. I feel like I might try yours out, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
I can show you a replay of it.
Sure.
After this game or something. I do have some. Let's see. Yeah, your gases in general tend to be quite late. I'd aim for 4 gates, then gas. 4, especially if you're building immortals. If you're not building immortals, go 6 gate, and then add the 2 gases on your 3rd base. But if you're playing immortal, if you're gonna wait till after 6 gates, your gases just start so late. Like, you're almost a minute later than what I usually have them at. It's gonna cost you like an archon, basically, at this point, like 2/3 of an archon, which isn't great. You also warp in too many sentries. You don't need 3.
I just put that one over there because he had all the lings over there. I was just kind of.
You think it was necessary?
But I guess I don't need that. Well, I mean, I guess not. I guess with the oracle it was fine, but
the immortal,
I guess it was just a reaction.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Okay.
I think in general the money is spent better in units that actually do something for you in the game, like Templar. It's usually not that great. Yeah, another thing that. Oh, sorry, go.
I was just gonna say, like, some of the big questions that are sort of in my mind when it comes to playing like a macro game, like against Zerg. Like, it's usually thinking in my head, like, okay, well, what are the key moments that I'm trying to take advantage of? Like, like I know oftentimes you'll say things that are like, oh, make sure you're getting the gases earlier. You should have more workers at this point. You should be, your gateway should be done. And it's like, okay, like that definitely makes sense. But I'm also wondering, like, what is the sort of
The goal.
milestones in the game that are important? Like, like you were saying, like 650 across the map with a warp prism. You said 9 gates done.
Yeah, 9 gates done and 2 archons.
Okay, so
Sometimes 3.
okay, that's good.
So, but this is without Immortal. The thing with Immortal is that it just becomes a lot harder to take map control. Because any kind of push you're gonna do is just gonna hit later. Usually, your initial push out with +1 and charge is gonna be focused around the fort base. And we've discussed this before, but we can go over it one more time. So whenever you move out, like, imagine you warp in 2 archons now and like 5 zealots, right? Which is kind of possible. I'm not sure if you have the gate count for it. In that case, what you can do is, like, you can scout forward either with an observer or a hallucination. You go over here and then you check, like, hey, can I cancel a fort base? Can I clear some creep? What are the things I can possibly do after seeing his army? And that's going to be dependent on how his early game went and how your early game went, right? If you kill 25 workers, big fat chance you're going to be able to cancel the fort base if he overdrones even slightly. Like in this case, I think if you're across the map right now with a prism, he's going to be in a world of trouble. Like, he has nothing. He has 26 links, he has 3 hydras on the way, and he's stacking 2 hive. You got to cancel with that fort base, and you're probably going to get a kill on him, honestly. Which is, that's pretty nice. That's neat. Getting free points.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. I just got to say, like, probably the biggest thing that I have trouble with in both PvT and PvZ is just, like, I'm, like, super aimless, like, even like this, obviously I'm not doing a great job with this build, but, like, say when you've described before, like, okay, you do this and you do this, and then then you get like Templar and Storm, and then you eventually get into carriers and that type of thing. Like, I'm kind of stuck there, like, I don't know why, and I don't really understand what I'm aiming to do. Like, in sense, I'm just building the buildings and building the units and taking the bases at roughly what I think I'm supposed to, but I'm, so to speak, like, aimless. Like, I feel in PvP, like, even in like in any macro game or any stage in PvP, I'm like, okay, well, I know what I need to do in order to try to win the game or defend whatever he's doing as an attack. And I feel like in PvZ and PvT, I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm trying to accomplish at any point in the game, which is kind of like one of the biggest things that I think I have trouble with.
Yeah, okay, we'll go over this replay just for the sake of finishing what we started. Afterwards, I'll just show you one of my games, and I'll kind of show you the ideas. That might be more helpful. One small note
that'd be great.
that I just realized is that whenever you want to do a push, is to always warp in your Templar at home, or, like, try to warp in Templars ASAP, because Templars aren't great at warping in aggressively. They give you a great liability to the position you're warping them in at. Because before Templars become useful, you need to morph them as well. So here you warp in, 5, 6 zealots. If that's 3 archons over here, then any type of push you're gonna do is gonna hit way faster and harder. Because you're not really... And you're gonna be easier to maneuver around, right? It's easier to reinforce with zealots than it is with archons. Right now what you do is you move out with your zealots, and then the moment you want to do your next warp in, you need to stand at that position until the archons are morphed if you want to add archons into your push. You catch me?
Yep.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, so, like, now as well, like, these archons are going to be super behind. So that it's not great. Okay, so at this point you cancel, or you force a cancel on the fort. And I think you should either be sending a hallucination forward, or with an oracle try to get some info of his army, basically. And then you can make a decision like, hey, is it safe for me to go in and kill him, or what are the other plays? And if you might remember, this also is the time with this move out is to take a fort base. So this is the timing for both the move out and your fort base and your +2. Yeah, this is perfect. And then the moment you're in this position, you can load up. You can make a couple of decisions, right? You can either be like, okay, I cancel this fort, time to go back home, or you can keep pushing. And if you go back home, you're always going to put 4 zealots in the prism, and you're going to put it over here.
I like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so try to remember that. On your way back, you take this tower as well. You leave 1 adept over here, and you send a zealot here. So you're basically gifting yourself free map control, and you're giving yourself a good counter opportunity with the prism that's going to be stuck over here.
Yeah, nice.
So that kind of all plays together. And then you can start rotations, like against a very passive style like Lurkers. It should be really difficult for him to actually take a forward base if you're just standing around, right? Because with good rotations and a prism somewhere, you'll be able to do something. And if you have a forward base going up behind this, you might feel less pressure on yourself to attack into this. Because you're up a base.
Right, okay.
So you might feel
I gotta say, honestly, when I saw this army, I was like, I can kill that. And I was like, oh, I guess not. So that was just some bad judgment, I guess.
Yeah, it can be quite tricky to attack into siege lurker positions. If you're floating a bit of money, especially.
Yeah. Well, also, like, from what you're saying, it's like, if this kind of push should have been there, like, a minute and a half earlier, well, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference, too.
Definitely. I like the follow-up, though. Like, the +2, the extra immortal production you're doing. I'm not opposed to second robos. I'm not particularly fond of them either. A lot of the time, I feel like just continuous chrono boosted immortal production is good enough. In general, your chrono boost is a bit lacking. You're saving 250 or so. No, a little more even. Jeez, that's 2 full next.
What should I chrono boost?
Forge, perhaps Storm at this point. Archons against Lurker Hydra is not that useful, right? They usually just block your real units from doing damage. Nicer to have Storm to kill the Hydras and Lynx, and then you go in with big immortal counts and Zealot flanks, that kind of stuff. It's most of the time gonna be the play.
Well, I think that's what I kind of learned the hard way, because at this point I was like, okay, I don't really know what army I'm supposed to make, and so I just kind of start, I don't know, just going on autopilot a little bit, and you'll just see this game kind of like completely fall apart because I didn't really know what to do. But I think from what you're saying, like just a lot of gateway units and immortals and good positioning is probably the answer. But I guess you'll see how it goes.
So a lot of the time, actually, against Lurker, the nice thing is that for once in your life, you're gonna have an army that might be able to fight a Zerg when he's not in position, because Lurkers that are unburrowed don't actually do damage. So, they need to burrow, and it takes some time. They need to walk there. So very important when you're playing against Lurkers is that you can keep map control. And that's something you're not actually doing, which is a mistake. I wouldn't suggest this necessarily against Hydra Bane, but against Lurkers, the beauty is that if you're over here, in order to fight you in this area, he needs to walk into your range, and then he needs to burrow. The moment he burrows over there, and you have your prism over here, guess what? It's going in. If you see him moving forward here, you can just force field this off and send 5 zealots towards this top base, and then he needs to make the decision: can I engage into his defense, preferably when you have Storm as well, and put myself all in, or do I need to go back to defend it? And majority of the time, he needs to go back to defend it. You should really see Lurkers as a siege tank army, except worse range and, well, actually just worse range. They burrow slightly faster.
Yeah. That's super useful, like the taking map control, because I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point.
In general, I noticed a bit that your vision has been lacking more than it used to before. So, just, the Zealot here, the Adept here, try to take towers, just keep good control of that. This is a nice pylon against Terran, but I don't see a lot of Zerg drops these days. I mean, it's good to have something, but really just spreading units around is better. And then especially in combination with having, like, not being afraid to send away Zealots from your main army. Like, this is another thing I noticed when watching you play, is that you tend to like to have high counts of Zealots around. Well, a lot of the time if you're being attacked, it's actually way cooler to send them somewhere else, especially if you already have a good immortal count and you have Storm. Like, you just try to hold a position for a bit, and your Zealots are doing work somewhere else.
I usually find I just end up with way too many minerals, and I don't know what to do with them. So
Zealots
should I just
fine.
Put down more gateways and then send them away? Okay.
Yeah, just 12, 13 gates is completely fine. But yeah, just really always try to have a prism. Like, this stuff is good. What you can do here is you can warp in 5 extra Zealots and you put them in this area. So then all of a sudden you're setting up a 2-pronged attack. It's no effort, and it's really, really easy to do. This kind of attack where you're starting to clear creep, this could be done. So the way that I would have approached this, I would send 5 Zealots over here. I would send 5 zealots over here, and I'd fly into the main with my prism, and then I'm clearing creep. So then all of a sudden, it's a 4-pronged attack. And you really don't do any, you don't micro anything, all right? The only thing you're looking at is your main army, and maybe you want to do an extra warping in the main base, but you don't give a crap about the 5 zealots here. You don't give a crap about the 5 zealots here. If they chase a queen for 5 minutes, like, who cares? You know, then he's microing the queen. He's probably losing crap somewhere else. Like, you gotta pick your battles a bit there. But the moment you attack like you're doing now, it becomes so much easier for him to defend than if there's random stuff happening at 4 or 5 locations. Not everything needs to be perfect, just a lot of crap needs to be happening. And you're the guy in control when he's playing Lurker. That's the big thing. So you see his entire army is kind of moving out of position just for this one already. So if you had the extra things going on as well, then perhaps it's easy to do some extra movements.
Gotcha.
Also, when you play against Lurker, try to identify the most defenseless base. Usually that's the base that's the furthest out of the rotation. So in this time, it's going to be the 5th base. Like, you can see how this situation would have been different if you would have walked up here. Right? There's a single Viper and a Lurker. And you could say, well, what if there's 8 Vipers there? Well, if you see 8 Vipers over here, then that means he can't really defend the 3rd and the 4th. But at this point, like, seeing 7, 8 Vipers here isn't that useful, because the moment you start rotating back up, the Vipers or the Lurkers can rotate with you. But he can't do that if he's top left, because your army is going to be blocking over here. You catch me?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Good. Glad to hear it. Any questions?
No, that's all good. I think this is pretty helpful. I mean, like, the biggest things for me, honestly, are just like some of the feedback for the early in the mid game related to, you know, getting the build tight and like getting things on time, because I think that's just like super big. And then also just like having the general direction of how I'm playing this out. And I feel like that was all super useful, especially with the, you know, pushing in, canceling the 4th, especially early on, and then setting up the prism for the run by, and then the way that you're orchestrating that makes a lot of sense. And then like the map control was really big, and then just like the rotation stuff, yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah, just always try to remember that zealots are basically like they're the liberators of Protoss, you know. And you know how Terrans used to shift-click liberators around the map? We kind of just do that, but with zealots. And it requires way more attention to deal with it. And Protoss always has minerals left over, so it's not like it's a bad move. It's always a good move, or almost always a good move.
Yeah. So in this spot, I was kind of thinking like, because I was maxed out and I just had Immortal Archon, and I was thinking like, okay, well, what should I be trying to get right now? Like, in my mind, I was like, well, if he suddenly decides to sort of transition, get Broodlords or something like that, well, I'm in trouble. So I wanted to get, well, then this happened also, but like I wanted to get like Stargate up and that kind of thing. And I saw he had some Vipers, so I was like, well, this kind of thing could potentially happen. And I was like, well, what should I be doing from an army composition point of view? Would you be doing something different, or would it just be the same general theme but with more bases and Stargates
more
ready to go?
Immortals,
Just
less Archons and higher Templar count.
Okay.
I think the Archons, like I said, are kind of useless against Lurkers. They're a bit clunky. They catch a lot of splash. They usually don't do that well, honestly, against Lurker. So I'd probably get a higher Immortal count Templar, and then you can start thinking about carrier stuff like you're doing right now. I think that's good.
Okay, because you're about to see like this whole thing completely fall apart, and then obviously like part of it's bad control. And like if you watch this game this whole time, I was like, I have 4 hotkeys, that's too many. But also like, you know, I've never actually fought this type of army before, and I didn't know what to do, and you'll see it like really fall apart. But I did feel like really lost like in the battles, and I kind of came to the conclusion that I should have just had way more gates and better positioning, and then just kind of moved him rather than what you'll see ends up happening. But I mean, I guess you'll see what happens.
A cool thing to do, actually, with the army that you currently have. This feels like such a clunky army, right? Because you have an army that kind of wants to attack Lurkers. Like, the Archons are kind of useless unless you're directly fighting. And then you have an army that kind of has, carriers. They're good over time, and they really synergize well with Storm. So in this case, what you could do is you can split your army in 2 parts, where you have all the crap ground units, your Immortals, your Archons, your Zealots, and then you get 6-7 carriers with like 7-8 Templar. And you're just gonna use your Archon Immortal Forge with 1 or 2 observers as like a run-by, basically. So you're just gonna move it around the map, you're just gonna attack this base, and then your carrier Templar Force is gonna go over here. Like, stuff like that is really, really powerful against Lurker, because the Lurker army synergizes very well when it's maxed. Like with Viper, Hydra, Lurker all together, that's quite powerful. But splitting up Lurker or Vipers is pretty difficult. Splitting up Lurkers is annoying as well. And he's gonna need Lurkers to deal with Templar. Like, if you have Carrier Templar against Hydra Viper, you're gonna win. So he needs to actually split the armies through the middle in order to get good fights. And if he's out of position, like Zealot, Archon, Immortal, kills bases really fast. Just make sure that you don't fly your observers into spores. And then 1 Lurker kills your entire army.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, really easier said than done.
So in this situation too, should I be trying to like... Because I kind of want to have vision of what's going on, but I feel like it's like if you run an observer ahead, it just dies. And it's like if you run an oracle ahead too much, it just gets joinked away. And, you know, if he's far away anyway, you only get like 10 seconds of vision. So I feel it's not that helpful. So I feel like a lot of these fights went so badly because I had no idea his exact positioning. And like, how would you sort of address that? Would you just be kind of like sharking out on the map yourself more? Like, be slightly more forward with your army positioning, or what would you do?
Probably, but if we
because like, see, this is like, I was just gonna say, this is kind of like a bad position that I'm in, and it's like, well, I kind of thought he was going through the middle, and then I was like, is he going to the right? Is he going to the left? And I feel like, you know, if I send the oracle in, it just gets yoinked out, and then I have no detection. So I was like, he basically got a perfect position. I wasn't sure what to do about that.
What I would do in this situation is I'd use your oracle just like you did, and I'd send my entire ground army like this, and I just defend with Storm and carriers. And the moment you have a counter setup like that, your 4th base also becomes less committed to, which is very nice. Because in this case, once he's this aggressive and this forward with Lurkers, unless you have a really good army that can just fight him straight up, fighting into sieged Lurkers is almost never a good idea, right? You're just going to lose majority of the time. So what you do is, you whittle him away over time with storms, and you force him to move forward to kill this 4th base. But you keep the probes alive, and meanwhile you do a counter-attack that forces him to either commit more to this push, or to leave his Lurkers behind to die against your air army. So he either needs to run back with the Lurkers, or he needs to run back with the Hydras. And if he doesn't do that, then what's he going to do? He's just going to lose this base, he's going to lose that base. So a lot of the time, this kind of thing, where you're slowly getting whittled away, counterattacks are very useful. Similar to how sometimes one of your bases gets sieged by Terran, you know, with siege tanks and liberators, and you just know you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's just better to kind of mentally already prepare to give up that base and start with the counterattack, do some counter damage. And in this case, your Immortals and Archons, I mean, they're nice to have, but they're going to be pretty useless. Try to send single Templar forward as well. Don't move the entire group, just storm on the area.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
This is gonna suck, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you'll see.
Like, this fight actually is okay, I think.
Well, I kind of realized it after the fact. I was like, oh, you know, like there might have been a point here I could have just attacked him, you know? But for some reason, I thought he just had way more sort of stuff like hidden behind. Like there was more Lurkers siege behind. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it can be difficult to figure out. I still think the counterattack would have been a good plan here, though. And then you just kind of do what I said earlier, where you kind of split your armies. For me, the number against Lurker has always been 6 carriers, basically. It's like a good number where you can take almost any fight. As long as there's no Lurkers to kill your Templars, you're not really gonna lose. You know, you have enough DPS. Just make sure to have like 9 to 10 Templar, and you're gonna be Gucci. Hey, you're in a good position, actually.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, man, I feel like my spot's good, but I just, you know, my control's super bad, and I just, like, I couldn't figure out how to not get my stuff, like, yanked away.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It feels like you know you're gonna lose it, like, since a minute and a half already, and you're just sitting there hoping to kill his units faster than he can replenish them, basically. And if you can't, then you'll lose the base, and then you make a ditch effort to defend, and once again, it's actually not that bad. Now you start running out of storms, though, so then it becomes hard.
Yeah,
I kinda like
exactly.
the way you're playing. Should have probably had a prism at some point as well. Go around like any type of zealot run by is always going to be good. He has a lot of spines though. The nice thing about spines is that they're always on the outside bases. So if you just run through, oh my god, he also has 2 spines in the natural. This guy is a clown. Never mind. God, there goes my
He's
good
ready.
advice.
He's two steps ahead. Yeah, exactly.
This guy's too smart for me. Okay. Yeah, let's just go through this real fast. At this point, it's pretty dead, right? Or you're gonna make the comeback of a lifetime?
Nope, I'm not. Not this time.
Yeah, I think we covered most ground here. Let's hop into one of my replays to have a look at the
Okay.
early.
Yeah, that'd be
game.
really good.
Yeah, let's move to Europe, okay?
Okay.
I even cut the recording for this.
Oh, that's really thoughtful. I actually just logged out. I didn't think I needed to do that. You know, I'm learning. Oh, guess what? I played 5 placement matches as Terran. Just because I
You were tilted.
after all the losses I had yesterday, I was like, I'm playing my placement matches as Terran and Zerg. I had hang on, I'm just switching here. I played 10 games of Terran in the last, I guess, 8 years. And I haven't used any of the new units. I haven't played any of that stuff. I played 5 games. Every TVT I just quit, so I lost those ones. I lost against Zerg, and then lost against a Protoss, and then I beat two Protoss players, got placed at 4,800.
Nice.
So at the time, it was the same level as my Protoss. So makes you think.
Makes you
Really
think.
makes you think. Yeah, it makes you think.
Let me
I just
check if
3
this
racked
is the
them all.
correct
It was pretty great. Okay.
I'm proud of you. Have you ever played any Ice Baneling?
No, I haven't. Is that the custom game?
Yeah, it's so good, dude.
I've tuned in a few times, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna be watching some tournaments, and then I just see you like circling this little baneling on ice every time I tune in, and I'm like, is this the tournament? Like,
It's so good. Absolutely love it. Let me check. Okay, this looks safe. Okay, nice.
I feel like in your YouTubing future, it's like you're playing professional ice baneling. Irene's got her baking channel. Like, how's it going, honey? It's going great. How about you? Oh, good.
We got it. All right.
Is this the right one?
Yeah, probably. All right. So what I do a lot these days, like I said, I just skip Stalker completely. It also makes it easier to get the second Oracle out, you know? A lot of the time when you go Adept Stalker Adept or Adept Adept Stalker, you don't have the cash for the second Oracle, which always pissed me off. But with this, you have money for everything, man. 4-minute Nexus
Nice.
is
That's
what I
fast.
do.
That's
Yeah,
fast.
That's fast. Now, key here is, okay, look at this. This is something there's a couple of things that I do. So you have this pattern where you fly, pretend into the main base, and then make a sharp turn into the natural. That's one. Then there's another one where you fly behind the third base and make a sharp turn into the natural. And then you have where you go all the way to the top and then boom into the main. These are like the 3 main patterns with the first Oracle that I like to do.
Wait, sorry. What was the first one? I missed the first one.
Okay, you go like this. Pretend to go into the main, sharp turn into the natural. A lot of the time they skip the spore in the natural because they have 2 queens that are trying to defend
okay,
the
I
third
see.
spore or something like that. Hey, these guys have no clue what
Gotcha.
they're doing. Oop, get some workers. As always, don't forget preserving your oracles more important than getting 1 extra drone kill. Oh, I played 3 oracle here. It's okay. The build will still work. And I think I play 4 adept as well. Let's see what type of timing I hit. So after third oracle and my adept, I get Robo, Forged Twilight. And you see how I'm kind of I'm not really
You
committed.
current the Nexus?
I'm not really committed
Yeah.
with my adept. I'm just, I kill a tumor, I shade in, and then as I shade in, just before all my oracles are about to do damage, I cancel and I run back. Then I pray to God that he isn't chasing, because I have no oracles to defend it. Then in this case, I put a stasis in the main. I think I might lose that oracle. And then I try to kill 1 or 2 workers at this base. I get 3, which is good. No, I don't actually lose it. But he's too fast. But this
Yeah, that's nice.
stuff, yeah, it tends to work. And then at home, here you see I basically never stop worker production. I get 6 gateways.
Honestly, the chronos and all the nexus is really big too, because I haven't been doing that at all, and I think that's really good to know that you're just like trying to max out the workers that way.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
that's good stuff. And
Yeah.
and like I said as well, like as long as your adepts are kind of on the map, usually your worker line transfer is gonna be safe because he can't really counterattack, right? It's difficult. But then once I'm afraid, then I'm just gonna move back with most things. Like adepts are going back, oracles are kind of staying home. I take my gases. Well, these were what 540 maybe, something like that, because I got third oracle and 4 adepts. You see, I got 6 gateways before I take my gases. Then I get the Templar Archives. You see, it started at around 540 or something like that. And then from this point on, usually once I have like 12, 13 workers on my third base, all my chronos are starting to go either into Forge, or into Twilight, or into the Prism that I want to build. Then I go up to 9 gateways, and my
Is the one worker on gas in your main? I presume that's just a mistake.
Yeah, I think he's building pylons.
The two workers.
Yeah, he's building pylons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay, right.
intention.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that. I just went to the main and noticed there was one missing. So
that's fine, Jamie. Don't forget who we're coaching here.
Yep.
So yeah, like the first warp in, really after the early game adapts, is gonna be like 1 sentry, 1 zealot, and then afterwards I usually already warp in 2 archons.
Okay. I mean, this is all really good, you know, like especially like looking at this and looking at some of the timings and you explaining kind of the ideas of what you're doing is super helpful, you know, because I feel like in some of these games, like I'll have a game where I'm playing against someone way better than me. And it's like, you know, say I do some little tactic and I get some good damage. And then I look at, you know, the workers active and they just still have like 10 more workers than most of the people I'm playing against. And, you know, their army's bigger and their creep spread's better and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And this kind of like puts it in perspective of like, okay, well, if we both were to compare our games at 7:30, well, I'm just like straight up like a minute behind or like a minute 20 behind, you know, with almost the same sort of stuff. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. So ideally, obviously, I should have been hitting a bit faster, but there was some, there was a link drop in my main base. Like I said, 3 oracle, 4 adepts. So it's a little rough. But you see, before I moved out, I moved towards my fourth base to clear it, and then I kind of chase his units away. I take the fourth base. If you think the links are going to come back, you can keep the oracles at the fourth base. But what I like to do, especially if I lose my observer, I like to have them with my army so I can see what he has, right? Like, so I see right now, hey, wait, that's a bunch of roaches. Can I fight that? And I'm not quite sure. I think maybe I can, but like I'm not the greatest at calling these fights. So instead I send in a single Archon and 4 adepts, which is obviously brilliant.
Nice. A little reconnaissance.
Yeah. No, but like you just...
Oh, you got the... Oh, you got the drop though. He's he's just hanging out.
Yeah, did you get the drop? I wonder where my prism went. Ah, okay, it went in here. That's kind of useless, but most of the time you want to look at an area where you can threaten 2 bases that are far apart. So on this map it would be here. This is kind of crap, honestly. But you see how I'm kind of threatening to drop, clearing a little bit of creep while taking my fourth base. And in this game I decided to play double forge, no storm. And then you just kind of...
Okay.
I actually kind of like this against Roachling Bane. Not too big a fan against Hydra Bane. I like Storm, but in general this seems pretty okay. And now I go into the good area. And your fort is up. My map control isn't the greatest, but I still have some type of vision with my observer. And yeah, this is a pretty comfortable position for me. But the things I should be looking at right now is to be setting up some type of run by. So perhaps I want to take this tower, I want to take this tower, so I can start sending out run bys through these areas at some point without them being spotted. These should be main priorities for me right now. Because another thing...
Are you...
Sorry? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go for it.
Another thing, of course, is that the prism is, in order for it to function well, I need to know where his army is at most times. Because I can't just fly in and warp in 10 zealots if there's, 10 ravagers at home. It's like, well, that's just a waste of money.
Are there any sort of triggers you have right now for like, okay, I'm going to move out now, I'm going to attack now, or I should do some sort of multi-prong, or I should clear creep now, go out on the map? because like I also sort of have this sort of situation where I know some people were saying, you know, like you're at like 170, 180 supply plus 2 finishes. That's a good timing. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good timing, I guess. But I'm sort of wondering, when in your mind are you thinking like, okay, now is the time that I go attack?
So usually it is when I feel like I can pressure him enough to kind of back off the creep. Because most of the time there's a difference between the fights on creep and off creep, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
like I want to be able to clear some creep and perhaps pressure some outside bases with either a prism or with zealots or whatever. So finally I start taking out towers. Like it really took quite long. This game has not been a great example of how I want to play it, but this is
Honestly though, like it's really illustrative, because it's just frankly like the big takeaway I'm getting from this is like I'm seeing sort of the build you're doing and everything, but it's just like the stark contrast of basically the amount of stuff you have and the amount of stuff, like even looking at like say Raynor versus, you know, some of the people I play against. It's like he was like at 90 drones when a lot of people I play are like 65, you know, at most, and his creep spreads like halfway across the map. And it's just like it kind of puts in perspective that, you know, I've kind of realized that it is like, if I look at someone who's like a Masters 3 player and I'm like, well, you just don't have enough shit. Like, I think that that's almost the same problem that I have as the biggest overlying concept. Like, you just have so much more stuff, and like Raynor has so much more stuff than the people I play against. But, you know, all the stuff you're saying is these little strategic ideas are like very, very useful. And like, that's what I'm going to aim at. But yeah, the big overarching thing for me was I was like, the macro is like on a completely different sort of level. So it's definitely illustrating that point, at least. So don't don't worry about that.
Okay. This actually is a pretty cool move, if I may say so myself. So this is one of those. This is what you would call a prism that isn't really meant to do damage, but it's a distracting prism. So I'm gonna set up basically a triple prong at this point. So the first attack that hits is the first attack that's gonna get responded to, right? So I warp in 5-6 zealots into the main base. I send 6-7 zealots over here, and then I can make two decisions. I can either clear the creep here, then move back to this and try to get that base, or if I think I can kill him, I can keep moving forward and maybe clear some drones on this base. So we're gonna kind of see how that works out here, right? So I do the warp in the main. I send my zealots towards the bottom side. Like, it's just 4 zealots, but it's enough to get him going, you know. And like I said, like here I shift click a couple of drones, but I don't do it too much. I start clearing creep, which at this point he's scrambling to get his units in position, right? He just sent the links to the main. He's not aware of my run by towards his third base yet because I secured the tower before. So his eyes are on obviously this side base. He feels vulnerable there, and his creep in the middle feels vulnerable. He might be even wondering, can I keep my fourth base alive against this? So we're just gonna kind of see how that works out here, and how I check to make sure that the fight that I'm about to take is a safe fight. Now, imagine you have some energy on oracles. It could be cool to put 1 or 2 stasis down here, you know, so you have a safer retreat path. But the general idea here is to see if I can actually get something on. So I move forward a bit with oracles, get some scouting info. I see banelings. My zealots run in, and even though I didn't really achieve a lot damage-wise, I cleared some creep. There's no active tumors anymore on the map, and I got information on his tech switch being Mutalisk, which is kind of
okay. That's interesting, because I'm surprised about that, because I saw like when they first popped out, I was wondering if they were just he wanted to get those to stop any, you know, like war prisms and stuff in between the bases, but yeah, I guess more popped out, and you're like, okay, well that's Mutalisk.
And there's one more concept that is pretty interesting here, is that if you look at my army and you compare it to 2 minutes ago, is that I've been stalling for a more gas-centric army. So before, you could, like, we had a fight here where my army was 35 zealots. But because I've been constantly trading away zealots in somewhat decent trades and doing actual things with it, I now have an army that gas-wise is, you know, 3.1k in gas. That's pretty good. I have still some gas in the bank. I'm getting 2 more Archons. And all of a sudden, my army actually looks pretty scary, you know? So not only are you trying to do damage and trying to get stuff done, you're also improving your army the moment you throw away zealots. Because it's so hard to get gas as Protoss. The moment you're throwing away minerals and you're trading well, your army is just getting better. And as long as there's no brute lords, if you're maxing out on a gas army, there's no way in hell he's ever gonna beat you, right? With or without storm.
Yeah, that's really good. I also like just like the side effect of all the run bys and having the prism over in the airspace and going in the main, like that. You know, I think a lot of players my level, and especially lower than my level, have a problem with it. Is kind of like you sit in your base, you know, you defend an attack, or you try to attack, and then you just sit in your base, and all of a sudden he has like, you know, 20 mutas, or he has 10 broodlords, or, you know, from the other perspective, it's like they show up with 15 carriers, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And even, you know, sending hallucinated phoenix into the main, it's just like sometimes it's hard to even get them in there. But if you're doing run bys and you have the drops and stuff, it's like all the information is like intuitive. It's just almost like you know what they're doing all the time because you're always out on the map. So that's also that's good for me to note as well.
And ideally, most of the time, I don't really want to have any zealots with my main army unless they're kind of behind the army. So the banelings, you know, they die first. So this is the type of fight that I would not suggest for any Zerg to take. You know, this is a pure gas army that I have here. I have what, 11 Archons, 4 Immortals, like, and they're pretty well upgraded. So he's just gonna have a rough time. If I split semi decently, it's always gonna be hard for him. And now that I took so long, and another thing that people will watch this and think, well, what if he just builds 20 brute lords? Well, like if he would get 20 corruptors out, I would be able to spot that with my zealot run bys, and then I could push forward more aggressively, right? So, like you say, it does so many things. Like it makes a better gas army for me. It gives me a lot of information, and has the potential to do damage, which is really all you can ask for. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, this looks strong. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, you can play this, like the double forge stuff, against Roach Ravager Bane or just Link Bane, Roach Muta, whatever. It's not that great against Hydra. You kind of need Storm against them, because they can just kite Archons too well. But anything else, like it is a really good job in general. And this is also one of these things where this fight isn't going too well, but this fight is going really well, you know?
Yeah.
I could have had all these zealots here, but he had 30 banelings anyway, so whether you have 10 zealots or 35, like you're gonna die to banelings, buddy. That's just how it is. And it's nicer to have them split off. Nice. Also got a nice humble dragon beating Raynor. Doesn't happen every day, so.
Yeah, I had to get that one in for the fans.
Yeah, this is it for the fans. This is already a successful episode, if you ask me.
Hey, you gotta name drop your hey, check out the Reddit clips. Yeah, you used a cool strategy against Cyril recently. Check that one out as well.
That's good. All right, so that's kind of how I play PvZ currently, with usually a bit more run bys in the early game and perhaps a bit more prism action. But yeah, it's this kind of concepts which are kind of the red line throughout my PvZ life.
Yeah, that's great. That was really useful too. Like all the strategy, all that type of thing, and like a big takeaway for me too. Like I think this is just useful for a lot of the viewers probably who are watching as well.
Wow.
Where they watch that stuff, and like I know this happens when I look at players like a lower level than me, and it's like they obsess over things like, oh, I gotta make sure the prism's there, and then I do the zealot run by here, and then the zealot run by there, and it's like they're on 3 bases at like 15 minutes into the game, and they're at like 130 supply, and like I realize even for myself, it's like my macro and timing for all those things is just definitely behind where it should be. So that was very helpful.
You want to go over one PVT as well, if you still have some time?
One of yours, because that'd be great. One of mine. I don't really have. I'm trying to think of one that I have that would be, because frankly, I just recently switched to a more like Colossus focused style, and I've done it like maybe like a macro style, and I've just done it like 3 or 4 times, and I just haven't lost any of them. So,
oh wow.
So it's just been good. Well, I gotta say, like the problem that I've had with PVT was largely to do with I would just max out. I'd have more bases. I'd have better economy. Like I was like, I'm ahead. And then you would come to like a maxed army versus maxed army, and I just would have like 2 disruptors or 3, and I just get my whole army EMP'd and I just die. And it's like the fight isn't even close. And then I've just sort of recently started, implementing just basically trying to get a lot more disruptors in a late game, more gates, making sure there's always a prism there. And I've just been having much, much better games. So I don't really have anything that I can.
You sure? I think there's one game that I wouldn't mind having a look at. The Ice and Chrome.
Oh
game,
God.
The PVT.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Okay. One sec. Was this one that I complained a lot about, or what's the
Yeah,
backstory on this one?
I think you
Oh
complained
no.
a fair amount. I watched it and I saw a couple of things which you might be able to do a bit better.
Uh-oh.
Just a couple. And I think you actually kind of played this
When did I play it?
yesterday. Yesterday.
No. I by the sounds of it, I lost, right?
Well, you didn't win it. Eisencron. Pretty decent game.
Okay, let me check. I'm checking. Ice and Chrome. I'm just seeing how far back I'm gonna have to. So replace. Is there where you can like search replays? I've never done this.
No.
That I can remember.
There's no way for that.
Is there like a filter?
What do you mean, per map or?
Yeah.
Well, you can scroll through them and then you see the map, no? Or you
yeah,
can.
But I thought there'd just be a way you can filter it, but I guess not.
Well, you can save them in a different format if you have some like programs. Dang it! Oh, I can't.
Okay, I'm looking. So it's yesterday. Ice and Chrome. Was it a long game?
You had the maxed army. You had 3-4 disruptors. I think you might have been 15 minutes in. Could have been 2 days ago.
Oh, Kuna Matata. Oh, I played Zerg in this one, so it's okay, give me a sec. Hold out. Hold on a sec. Ice and Chrome. I just recently unvetoed Ice and Chrome. Oh, this is it. It's a 20-minute game, so this is probably the one.
Yes, that might be it.
Oops, that's not what I meant to do. There we go.
You will always find him in the kitchen at parties.
Oh, you liking that one?
No, it's terrible, but it's stuck in my head for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's so. I watched the video as well, like of him singing it, and someone did a cover of it, like with him in the video as well, which was just as bad. It's truly terrifying. And I watched an interview with him, and how happy he was about the lyrics. That pissed me off even more because it's really not that clever.
Oh yeah. How would you feel if someone reviewed? What do you know the needle drop?
Fantano.
Yeah. How would you feel if you publish your Christmas album and he gets his hands on that bad boy, gives it a 3 out of 10? How would you feel about that?
I don't think I'd care very much. It's just an opinion, right?
Yeah. Okay, geez, man. I feel like let the sales numbers speak for themselves.
I've been wondering if I can actually get it on Spotify. It shouldn't be too hard these days, right?
Oh yeah, you just upload it. Yeah, I think.
Oh, sick. Yeah. I was thinking like if it's worth it to buy some ads on YouTube, so people click on the video, and then maybe I can get like a hit in the Netherlands or something. I think it would be so sick.
Oh my god.
I wonder how much you'd need to invest.
My merch guy actually had this genius idea that he was trying to work with Google and some other advertisers to do, which would be putting advertisements for YouTubers' own merchandise store in front of their own videos in the pre-rolls. So the YouTubers would get paid to advertise their own stores. And he was like, yeah, if it's successful enough, like depending on the click-through rate, you could basically have an infinite ad budget. And like all the YouTubers would get paid, and it would like make up for itself through the merchandisers, sales. And I was like, that's fucking genius. So if you execute that same idea with your Netherlands top 10 Christmas hits, well, then there you go. You advertise on your own channels selling the thing. What was that?
Doesn't YouTube take a cut from the ads?
Yeah. But the idea would be like,
you make it back.
Yeah, they do, but you could pay. Well, you pay, and you could advertise your own Christmas album on your own videos.
So couldn't I just advertise it without having to pay at the start of every video?
Oh yeah, but I'm just thinking, if you want to get it in front of like the entire world, you could just send. I mean, I guess that's just regular advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, forget what I was saying. But
your merch guy doesn't sound so
is what it
brilliant
is.
now,
Right? Great idea. Great idea. No, the merch idea is brilliant. No, that one will make sense when you start making your merch. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't apply to your situation. Just forget that. Edit that out. Tell your editor to edit everything out. Make what I said sound smarter.
All right. Let's have a look. What are you doing here, Chief? Blink. That looks
no. No, this is the old. This is the old me. This isn't how I play anymore. This is.
You know,
I'm good at this Marine though.
My favorite thing about watching you play is every time you play a turn, it's like, please let him go mind drop.
It's so true. I think I played anyone who's done a mind drop.
That's so sad. He plays triple CC. Tank. Okay, that's nice. You get some decent scouting off. You see really nothing except. Did you see the tank yet? No. You didn't. In this case, I'd like to leave my adept kind of patrolling this area, you know? Then if there's any type of move out, you see it. I have no clue what this move out is, though. He's probably just looking for you.
I have no idea what this move out is either.
If he gets damage with this, I think we might just...
I don't even remember this game.
He goes back home.
Oh, I guess I didn't see that, so why would I remember that part? Yeah. Okay, alright. So far, so good.
Well, you should have seen it. And then you would have known there's not going to be a mine drop. Because you see such a fast tank, which would have allowed you to.
Well, I didn't want to ruin the hope. You know, if I would have saw the siege tank, I would have known he's not doing a mine drop, and I would have been sad.
Yeah.
So I ended up with an extra minute of joy.
Yeah. Okay. Position. This looks pretty good. You don't play with the fast sentry?
No, not in this one. I just decided not to. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I just kind of waffle around, not knowing what to do. But
I like that.
I've been experimenting like Robo first into Blink versus some other stuff, but and get the fast observer, and then it just some of this is I'm just not concentrating.
Cool. Yeah, I like this.
But this is usually how I've been playing.
Yeah, this is good. I like this. What do you call it? The cutting off the Marines, do some damage on them. I mean, if your charge is finished at this point...
this game! Yeah, I remember this game. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just remembering the game.
I feel like you should have waited maybe one more second for more charge hold. Whoa, that's a nice link. Okay, you absolutely destroy him. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
You're actually light years ahead right now.
Yeah, that's what I remember in the game. I was like, oh, I'm light years ahead.
Yeah. In this case, what you should do, fort base, 5 gas. You already have a Templar Archives as well, and then you just do like a +2 push, like with Storm, or like just any type of Storm push. And I don't really see a way for you to lose. You put the Templar in the prison. I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can lose in that case. This is never a good idea, really.
Yeah.
So this is just more of a general concept, but and it's not going to apply to every situation, but most of the time, whenever you get lucky or you get ahead, it's usually good to stick to the...
Well, get lucky, dude. What do you mean get lucky? I thought it was a pretty good fight. I thought I was ready for that one. I was ready for a mine drop. So I was ready for a tank push. I was microing those stalkers. I was blinking them back.
Okay. So some games you're going to have a godly defense, and you get very far ahead because
Thank you.
Better?
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Usually it's still wise to stick to the plan. Because it makes no sense to all of a sudden have a different plan because then maybe your plan wasn't good at the start,
Well, I mean, that's the mistake you've made, assuming that I have a plan in the first place.
Right.
But I did realize after I did this attack, I was like, oh, this is a bad attack. So, I did realize that at least. But I see your point. I definitely see your point.
Yeah, most of this is very common where people are like, okay, I just killed X. Now let me just throw my entire plan out of the window and just go do something with my advantage. Well, most of the time, you're still going to get the same advantages that you usually had. They're just going to be amplified. So imagine if your plan was to do an attack with 3 Templars in a prism. Like, that's going to be a lot stronger because you're up 30 supply. Like, it makes no sense to move across the map without a prism while getting Storm, a fort base, a second forge, and having 800 minerals in the bank. It's like... You might have just killed this, but like that's not good enough. The only time it's good to do a counter attack is if you took big economic damage and he sacrificed a lot of production for it or something like that. And you might you might need the counter attack to do something. But if you just take a good fight and you basically just get very far ahead in every scenario, just stick to the original plan or the original timing that you had. The little poke. Same in PvZ, you know, where we have the standard move out timing. Here there's some standard move out timings where you might be like, okay, this is time for me to go. Yeah, and then you'd probably be in a pretty good spot. Usually, oh, I like this. That was kind of cute. Good job, Jamie.
Yeah, that was a cool guy move. Yeah, thanks. I was like, all right, time to win the game this time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't work. But anyway, I thought that part was good at least. Thanks.
What do you think of this move out? Or what you're doing right now?
Well, I realized this moment once I got everything there and I saw the full wall, which I didn't realize was there. And at this exact moment, I was thinking, this is probably a bad idea because I have 4 bases and he's just sitting there on 2. But I don't know, in my mind, I killed more with that little storm maneuver than I thought. And I thought I would just be able to, like, you know, kind of roll in and just win. But yeah, that was probably not the best idea.
Yeah. I like the spirit and enthusiasm that you want to find the next game as soon as possible, but most of the time in these situations, especially when tanks or mines and siege positions are involved, especially on 2 bases, just get to the next step, you know, of the plan. So basically, you denied him a 3rd base for this entire time. If he ever decides to move out from his siege position, you're probably always going to be able to win a fight, right? Like, if there's no wall in front of him, like you have Storm, he has a tank and 3 mines. Like, if he needs to unsiege these things, you're probably always going to win a fight. But until then, there's no need to fight. Like, just get a Robo Bay, 2nd Robo, continue your upgrades. You're outmining him by, well, what is it? 1,500 resources a minute, 1,200 minerals, and like 200-300 gas. I mean, there's really absolutely zero reason for you to go in, lose your prism, and even now you're still ahead, you know, like you could absolutely win the game here. Probably, maybe sometimes you're gonna win it here. You're still light years ahead in this case, but the game should have been over, where it's impossible for him to ever come back into it, unless you actually wet the bed twice or something like that.
Yeah, I just get kind of like, I mean, I guess we'll talk about in this game, but it's like I've had so many games where just like, you know, they sit back, you know, they have like a 3rd CC in their base and they're really behind like this, and I just like let them kind of get up to like 140 supply, 150 supply. You know, I'm sitting at like 170 with kind of like a shitty army, and then it's like they take their 3rd. I'm like, well, I can't attack them. They have like, you know, siege tank or 2. They have some mines around, and then they kind of have a 3rd. They max out, walk across the map, and just, you know, completely kill me, which is basically what happens with this game. So I feel like I just kind of have this instinct where I just want to try to finish the game early to the mid game if I can. But I think that's, you know, like I've been saying, like largely to do it. This is bad, obviously, but largely to do with, you know, army composition related stuff. And then even here, I was like, oh, I could definitely kill this army, and I just kind of, you know, controlled poorly, but also
no prism, no observer,
overestimated it. Yeah.
I mean, it just becomes kind of difficult. Like I said, usually the way you want to play when you play some type of blink or charge game is that your first step is going to be your 3 gas stalker charge army, right? To stop the initial push. If there's no initial push, then you go up to 5 gas 4 base and you get some momentum with Storm, where a lot of the time Protoss will have Storm in a prism before the ghosts are out. So you have a timing there. While you're doing that push, like you invest into Storm 3-4 High Templars. While you're doing that push, you're gonna be going into double Robo Colossus behind it, off of 7 gas. So that would be this point, where your transition, at this point, you've already achieved the goal with this push. The moment you see no 3rd landed, in your mind, an alarm should go off and be like, okay, I'm done here, you know? What is my next step? And you should be thinking of upgrades, and then Robo, 2nd Robo and Robo Bay, and 7 gas. That's it. That's all you're gonna think about.
Okay.
You leave 1 Zealot over here, You can move over here a bit back, or you can put 4 zealots into a prism. So the moment he takes his third, you still have some counterplay, you know, if you're as far ahead as you are right now. But there's no reason for you to basically keep pushing your advantage in dangerous ways. Like, you just keep getting further ahead until you can't lose anymore, and then you kill him. And if you started your transition at 840, you probably would have 2 Colossi by now. Range probably done. Like, your upgrades are honestly a bit sloppy. Like, not too many chrono boosts being used there either. And you're still light years ahead, don't get me wrong. I'm very curious what's going to happen this game, because I mean, it still seems pretty difficult to lose in my opinion.
Oh, you'll see.
This man can make the impossible happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not ask and you shall receive.
What do you feel like is the play right now for you? Like,
lose all my units to mines. It's probably what I was thinking at the at the time. I honestly don't know. Like, I this is kind of a struggle for me. I feel like it would make more sense just like Stalker Sentry Colossus, something like that. Few immortals, keep the immortals alive. But I really am not super sure. I find I lose my observer a lot in these fights. Or don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. One disruptor can help out there, you know, against clearing mines, that type of stuff. If you struggle a lot with it, I like to have, you know, just after 2 Colossi I get 1, usually. But yeah, this
I also felt really bad here because I was like, I remember during the stream I was complaining. I was like, oh my god, I'm macroing so well, but I just have so much money I can't spend it. But yeah.
What's your gate count? Oh, 11. That's weird.
Yeah, well, it's just because I started floating and, like, you know, honestly, I just had so many workers and I was just like,
too rich.
I don't know, just macroing poorly, but yeah too rich. Too rich.
Okay, like at this point, I think you should probably be able to stay alive again at some point.
Great,
so
because the observer.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
You did lose a lot of workers. This is the first time I'm actually a bit scared for you. He has some stuff. Do you ever get the Dark Shrine a bit faster?
I do usually get it a bit faster. I think in this, like, sometimes I just forget because it's like I pretty rarely, to be honest, I rarely get to games that are like 4 bases long with much frequency. So it's like I just don't remember it very much.
Okay, so if I were to play this style, the way I'd write it out in a little flow chart is like the charge plus blink 3 gas into storm 5 gas, like a +2 push or a 1/1 push. Then you go from, like, while you're doing that, your fort should be going up, and you should be getting Robo Bay, double forge, 2 forge, and then Robo Bay plus second Robo, and then afterwards you're gonna be going into Dark Shrine plus 5th base once you got gas available for that, for the Dark Shrine, and that's gonna be kind of the end game, because once you reach 3 Colossus, every unit after that is just going to be a disruptor, and you don't really care about Colossus anymore. So written out, it would look something like this, where you have a little flow chart where you have clear goals, and your first power spike where you can be aggressive is when you have Storm, because usually Terran keeps map control until you have Storm and Blink. Like, it's just difficult to get good fights unless you do like a very dedicated all-in. And then afterwards, once you get Colossus, you get your map control. And then with the Dark Shrine, you really get the ability to do a lot of two-pronged. You know, you get the Blink Templar, Blink Templar, and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice to do usually.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's helpful. I feel like the thing too, like 3 Colossi into Disruptor, like that's sort of what I've been realizing accidentally in a lot of these games where, like, you know, again, I'm just so used to these big long games just being like, I'll just make a bunch of Colossus, but I'm just like, why am I losing all these fights? And then the games where I do start making, like, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 Disruptors is like, wow, did they ever go so much more smoothly in the late game?
Yeah.
So and yeah, those plans are very helpful.
This is good, obviously, but we still want sell it here, something here, maybe a pylon here. You know, just some thoughts. Pylon here could be useful. You know, nicely cut that map, the half in middle, and Try to get something done there. Would be good, I think. And this is really the point where, disruptors are gonna be key, right? Like, his Viking count is gonna start growing. Fights are gonna start going... are just gonna be harder for you at this point. Yeah. Also try to keep 1 sentry for Guardian Shield around. It's a useful ability. Yeah, you go up to 5 Colossi, but now we know. Oh, you didn't get Colossi.
Now we know, yeah. I guess I didn't.
Yeah, fight was looking a bit weird there. Also, again, attack with no prison. This was very good. I would have loved if there was like 2-3 stalkers behind here, and like 1 DT or like 2 zealots over here as well. Like, these things are kind of easy to set up, and Terrans usually aren't that quick, so it's good to do.
Nice. True.
Get him a quick dig at the Terrans as well.
Yeah, I gotta throw those ones in for the fans.
For the fans. All right, and this is at this point. I mean, this is just check your vision at the moment. Like, the only part you know about is that he can't be coming from this angle, which is the least likely angle anyway. He could be walking up here soon. He could be killing this base. He could be here. Like, you have absolutely zero clue. So you're like, the chance of you being in position is way smaller than the chance of being out of position. And I think here you do get out of position and you kind of die, no? Or is that maybe the next fight? Can't quite remember.
It's probably about to happen.
Yeah, so... Okay, now this is fine for you. You might lose the base, but... Are you joking? Keeps it alive. Another thing about having vision, with disruptors it's really nice, because you can shoot the disruptor shot ahead of time, you know? Which is generally quite helpful.
Yeah.
Anything else we're missing? No, I mean, I honestly don't really mind your playstyle. I think it's quite good.
This was a bit ambitious, but I thought I'd go for it.
Yeah, to me that kind of stuff seems fine as well. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Oh wow, your disruptor just died before it hit, so that was a bit unlucky.
Yeah, I really thought I was gonna get it, so that's why I blinked in, but...
Yeah, I thought you were gonna get it as well. I also would have blinked in. I would have danced my stalkers already. I have that on a macro, so if it ever happens, you know...
Actually?
Yeah, really fast.
I feel like when you're like, hey, do you have any spare hotkeys on your mouse? I'm like, no, that's for my stalker dance macro.
Another control group? Nah, sorry, I can't.
You're kind of full up on those ones.
Yeah, there's a really important one there. I don't want to get that one out. Let's see.
I have my F10N bound to the mouse wheel. They're completely full.
Like, one of the things you're lacking a little bit now is any type of counter harass to kind of give map control back to you. So both disruptors and liberators are the best when the person using them has momentum on their side, because both of them kind of need to be in position to be good, right? Your disruptors are slow, they're always going to be behind the fight. Liberators need to re-siege. Like, if you can get into a position like this, he can never defend both bases. It's just not possible, because his bio army can't rotate. So this is why if you get any type of run by into the natural with like a decent amount of units, you can get very nice positions with disruptors. I'm not a massive fan of immortals usually here, but 1 or 2 mixed in isn't the end of the world. But yeah, this is usually where I'd be getting DT Blink and start messing around with Dark Templar as well. Also, when you have this army, you're really dependent on your disruptor shots for zoning. So if you blink in before you zoned with a disruptor shot, this kind of stuff is going to happen a lot. Like what just happened here, like you blink in and he's going to be able to kind of trade backwards a bit. And then once the disruptor shots come in, he just runs away, which is not quite how you want to use them. Like basically you're bound by the speed of your disruptors. So you're kind of moving back and forth to cover your disruptors. And now you shoot your disruptor shots, but you don't blink in because you don't want him to trade with stalkers. You want him to trade with your disruptor shots. You get what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
because right now you're just losing stalkers for free, and your disruptor shot is not gonna hit. So you're not achieving anything, and you're losing units, which means the likelihood of this push succeeding is not great. Really, the only thing you're doing here with your disruptors at this point is you're not really gonna kill anything. You're just gonna be fighting for this position. That's all you really want at this moment. And then once you have this position, you take the tower, and then you start thinking like, hey, how do I want to do this? Like if you have a decent stalker immortal count, maybe you can kill this planetary, you know, while zoning him out with more disruptor shots.
That reminds me. I was going to ask, sort of in the mid to late game, are you trying to aim to have any certain number of immortals at all? Just for, because I always find it like really hard to snipe planetaries unless you have like, you know, at least three or four immortals. But are you just kind of zoning them out with disruptors and sniping things when you can, and immortals aren't a big part of the army, or what do you do?
I mean, you can get immortals and.
But just saying like a regular, you know, like a regular game, not how this one played out.
I mean, this game honestly is quite regular. I think like it's like the progression of the game seemed pretty standard to me at least. I think most of the time what I do is I just get more disruptors. Like more disruptors usually is better than less disruptors. So
that's true. Well said.
And immortals are kind of heavy in supply. You know, it's a big unit.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about disruptors is that you can kill SCVs very easily. So if you're just like, if you have like 25 stalkers and let's say 9 to 12 disruptors, you throw like 3 disruptor balls on the planetary to kill all SCVs, and then you use your other 8 to 9 disruptors to just zone out your opponent's army while stalkers kill the planetary. You might lose a stalker or two, but in general it's still gonna be fine. So my answer is
sounds good.
No disruptors. Because they're not
no
great
immortals?
against... Oh, sorry, no immortals. No immortals. Disruptors, yes. Immortal, no. Oh well, GG. Very sad, Jamie.
GG.
It's not the game I was talking
sad.
about, but still a beautiful game anyway. I loved it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm not sure which one...
That's okay.
which one you meant, but that was good. That was a good one. I thought that was a good...
I hope you
not a bad
got
replay.
some powerful info out of this, Jamie, because I've been
I
watching
did.
your
I
stream.
extracted the...
Yeah.
Yeah?
And
Yeah, you watched my stream and what?
I want you to do well in life. And the past few days have been rough.
Actually, today was good. Today was a great day. I actually won, I think, 11 games in a row. Look at my match history. Go look at my match history right now, so you can be impressed.
Yeah, but I know why you won 11. It's because yesterday you lost 11 in a row.
No. I've turned a new corner, Harstem. This is the new me.
Oh,
I'm going to continue the same win rate up into at least probably 6K. I'm really feeling it. I'm pretty sure, especially with this coaching. You know, this next week, I've been streaming more. I got my watermelon. I got my Monster Energy. Yeah. Don't tell anyone it's actually ginger ale. But anyway, yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, the other day was a pretty rough one. But I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, man. Yeah, it's been good watching you play. Huh, it's nice to have you on the line as well again. You know, finally get to talk with one of my good friends. It's always makes my day.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. That was really nice.
All good, buddy. Is there anything you still want to discuss? Your YouTubing. How have the views been?
Views have been decent. You know, I gotta say, like, just for whatever reason, sometimes you have periods where when you haven't uploaded recently, the sort of baseline viewership is really low, and for whatever reason, the past month or two, it's been good. So my YouTube's been good, and so I've just been streaming. Come watch my stream if you're still recording this and this is going to YouTube. Otherwise, I'm just telling you, come watch my stream, Harstem. That'd be great. And yeah, it's been good. Life's been pretty good.
Wow, you get 1 million views per week.
Wow. Yeah, probably something like that.
In January 20, you got 6 million views in a week. You must have released one hell of a video there.
Yeah, sometimes you never know which ones are going to really hit it or not. But yeah, at least for the past month or two on my little analytics, it's been 450,000 views every 48 hours. So I'm cranking those numbers out, man.
That's crazy.
But I'm not cranking those ads out like you are. You know, you're that monetization. We probably have the same amount of ads shown per episode.
Yeah, Yeah, probably. You know what I always say? If you haven't seen an ad in 5 minutes, it's been a bad 5 minutes. gotta gotta push those
Amazing.
products, man. The worst part is that I feel
I
like
respect.
I'm mainly getting whenever I watch YouTube, I get like the ads for the crappy mobile games. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like is there called
You,
like stuff
you
like
don't play those ones?
Gardenscape or something like that? Is where there's a guy. He has like a dilemma between two things: either throwing his wife in front of the tigers or stepping into burning lava. And you always pick the wrong one, which I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that's
why I still
true.
click them. Yeah, that's the one that I always get, like 15 times a day.
Imagine you're watching these ads and they're just like, "Oh, would you like to play Clash of Clans? Would you like to play Raid Shadow Legends?" You're like, "No, these games are stupid." It's like, "Hey, would you like to play Icebane Link?" And you're like, "Oh yes, oh boy, my favorite game." Now available on mobile, and you're like, "Oh, thank you, Blizzard."
Actually, I would play that on mobile. That's one hell of a game. All right, Jamie. I think we're gonna wrap it up. It's been too long already. I'm actually gonna have to cut some of the boring parts out. So I'll
Unbelievable.
be.
I feel that the actual upload is like 5 minutes long.
It's just the ad part. Still 3 ads though.
You're like, 2 hours and 10 ads. Why don't we cut this down to 5 minutes and 10 ads? Just show the ad reel back to back to back to back. It'd be good if they let you do that, like kind of like cable TV. Like say you had 11 ads. If you just got people to watch them all up front before they watch your
Yeah.
delicious 2 hour video, that would be bad.
Can you double up on ads on YouTube? Like if you click them in the same spot, does that work?
I've never uploaded a video longer than 10 minutes,
Oh,
or
really?
8 minutes now, so I actually don't know. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. How do you make any money? That's insane. All right.
Yes, really, it really is sad. Really is a struggle out here.
Thanks very much for your time once again, Jamie. As always, I will be paying you in free exposure on my YouTube channel. If you haven't
Thank you.
seen
Much
it yet,
appreciated.
Jamie has been streaming a lot recently. Twitch.tv/Harstem if you want to check that out. Thanks everyone for watching to this episode of Coaching with
Nice.
Casually Explained. Don't forget to
Thanks,
subscribe to
everyone.
my channel. Don't forget to check out Jamie's stuff as well, as he's been such a kind soul. And bye bye.
Amazing. Thank you, Harstem. Catch you later, everyone out there on YouTube.